Hi, thank you for joining us at the Nappy Frappe. I'm your host, Cheryl Monique, and today I'm joined by a very, very special guest, a very close loved one, Delorean. Hello.
Hi. Thank you so
Thank
much
you
for
for
having me.
coming.
No, thank you for having me and finally getting this done because this has been so anticipated.
Yes.
Yeah, we definitely needed to have these type of conversations, these conversations that need to be had and that oftentimes get overlooked. So yeah, thank you for having
Of
me
course,
and
I love
my
you.
opinion. That's all I got is an opinion.
So today we're going to be sharing our opinions and we're going to be talking about childhood trauma, but surviving childhood trauma and some of those generational curses and cycles that we all go through. But first, I want you, if you enjoy us, you enjoy following us and taking part in the conversation, I want you to like, share, click the bell below, and check out the Nappy Frappe on all forms of social media.
Check it out.
Okay, so it's a hell of a topic because I think it's something we all go through, and I've always talked about my childhood trauma and the things I've experienced, but becoming a mother has made me more aware of how children are targets.
Definitely.
And it scares me. And then I think about, as an adult, how the traumas that I experienced as a child play into the choices I make and the decisions I make as an adult. And it, makes me worry about just his whole life, his whole future, and me. I have one life to live, and I want to try to live it in a healthy way. What would you say is one of the bigger things in your life that you feel is clear to see, the has manifested into something you are coping with now?
Mm. Um. Well, man, childhood trauma can come in so many different forms. Like, it's not just one avenue of childhood trauma. Like, protect your kids, man. Protect your kids. Jesus. Um, I, I've had many forms of childhood trauma. Um, Molestation comes to mind. The divorce of a parent, which it's traumatic. It's definitely
Thing.
traumatic for the children, and like we have to consider them in all aspects. But I would say that as I recognize the childhood traumas that I'm suffering from, because a lot of childhood traumas you don't even recognize
Yeah.
you've been through.
Yeah.
So the ones that I can acknowledge that have happened to me that I'm still coping with, um, I would say I I'm sorry, what was the question again?
It was, what's one of these traumas that you feel you recognize has manifested into adult issues?
Oh man. Okay, yeah, okay. Um so like for me, the childhood trauma of molestation, just how losing your power, how feeling helpless and abandoned, um being taken advantage of, like all of these things like can create patterns of your life, like where you just don't stand up for yourself, or to where you don't trust people, or like just it.
Or it makes you needy in the other way, where for me, I I feel like I became more promiscuous later in life, trying to
Definitely
reclaim my sexuality.
because it's mine.
I
have the power.
I now have the power, but at that time I still kept placing myself in powerless situations, in bad relationships and things like that, where where it was like I wasn't actually putting myself in a more powerful situation. And in I'm working on a documentary about sexual assault that I've been working on for a while. I do an interview in it, and in the interview, I mentioned that from the minute I learned what a whore was, I felt like one. And so, in life, women tend to be put in the virgin whore category, and so I feel like I never had that opportunity. So even as an adult, I find myself, and men constantly still try to do that, find myself stuck in this balance where I'm afraid to embrace sexuality for being a whore because I've always felt unclean. I've always, I attribute sexual being used as and shaming. And that's led to me being to slut shaming others. Now I do believe in being sexually discriminate, but that's for other reasons, for basing relationships and just building community and trust and all that. But you want to experience something. But my childhood trauma of being sexually abused shaped more than anything how I felt about me. And what I allowed because of how I felt about me. And it made me feel unprotected because when the adults found out, nothing changed. If anything, I was made to keep this a secret. And so now we are all keeping this a secret.
Yeah.
And I remember being in foster care, and I was with family in foster care, and they gave me an exam and they saw that I wasn't a virgin. And they asked about it. And first it was the violation of feeling like they brought in one doctor, and then there were like 4 doctors in there, and I'm a little girl and they're all looking. And
childhood trauma.
Then
that's a childhood trauma right there.
Exactly. But then I was told, don't say anything, because if you say anything, they're going to take me away. They're going to take me and my siblings away. And then we're all going to end up separated. Because my mother had 5 of us in foster care with 3 of my cousins. My grandparents were taking care of 8 kids. So if I said something, then I was going to be responsible for all of us being displaced. And from what I hear about foster homes, I'm just going to be in for more. So don't say anything. And it just makes you feel like I can't reclaim my power anywhere. And so later in life, I find myself struggling to assert my sexuality, to be comfortable with my sexuality, but also just assert my power and my voice. And
like that's a huge topic. That's a huge point. Like finding that voice. Like for me, I would say, like you said, being promiscuous, that was definitely an outlet for me because I have that power. I've taken my power back. It's mine, and I can share it with whoever I want.
Exactly.
But you also said by placing yourself in powerless situations. And like that was pivotal for me too, because throughout all of these experiences or all these trips, like I didn't want to do that. I just felt that I had to do that because you want it. We're here. You're either going to take it from me so I can give it to you. You're either going to take it from me or I'm going to give it to you. So my power, I'm going to give it to you in this situation.
Okay. I totally get that.
Like, because that's what I was That's what I was used to. When people wanted these things from me, they took them from me. I did not feel safe. I never felt secure. And like I was and just putting myself in placing myself in a powerless situation. Like it's just so diluted and like just the childhood trauma that can come.
And the rush of being wanted.
Ugh.
Like even just the drug of feeling wanted in that moment. And then you keep having sex because at least at that moment, at least when I'm having sex, I'm wanted. And feeling loved. And my biggest issue growing up, because sexual abuse was definitely a big one, but and I'm sure being a gay man, you definitely experience this because there's a lot of gay men experience a lot of misogyny. A lot of the hate towards women, they shove on you. And I really feel like that's where most homophobia comes from. It's hate for women. And then how dare you not accept your power as a man? And because of the misogyny, I'm almost used to suppressing my sexuality. What I never learned how to deal with was my feelings of abandonment and my feelings of disappointment.
Yeah.
Feeling like I just wasn't safe. Feeling like no one loved me enough to keep me safe. And feeling like I had to take care of myself, but not knowing how to take care of myself. And, people take you in and all that. And I was taken in by my grandparents, appreciative and all that business, but never quite feeling safe. And then on top of that, I felt like I was responsible because my mother wasn't emotionally able to be a mother, and my father was going through his stuff, so he wasn't able to be a father, or they just weren't. Because while you can say they tried their best, they didn't do enough.
Mm-hmm.
I needed more and they didn't do it.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's not, it wasn't good enough.
Mm-hmm.
And the constant broken promises from them, the people that took me in, almost making me feel like I was obliged,
Mm-hmm.
to where now I have a problem taking help from friends because I don't want to be obliged to anybody. That being obliged makes me feel powerless. So I'd rather go hungry than let you buy me a meal because at least I'm powerful in my hunger. And when I go out and I meet people that have not grown up with these problems and they have this community, like wealthy people have community of, come stay at my house. I'll give you that. And there's no shame in it. And I'm still too ashamed because of my powerlessness. I'm still too ashamed to take help when I need it because suffering on my own is my power because no one took care of me. And it's just so traumatic. But at the same time, recognizing these things is freeing.
Definitely.
Because it allows me to say thank you. I've learned to say thank you. It is so hard to say thank you. Somebody offers me something, I'm just like, all my brain wants to go. It's like when somebody gives me a compliment. I used to just not take it. I used to say, find something self-deprecating to say. If you tell me I'm pretty, but I'm so skinny, I'm flat-chested. Like I needed to find something bad to say because it felt like I'm being humble. I equated humility with self-deprecation.
Yep.
And so I associate strength with not taking help, not enjoying assistance. But where's my sense of community? And where's my sense of charity? If I can't take help, who am I to give help? Who am I to try to go out there and feed the hungry if I can't ask for help when I am hungry? Do I look down on them? Because if I didn't, why am I not able to then take that help? So I'm glad I'm at a point where I can look at myself, but I'm still fighting that inside voice that goes, don't take it. They're going to think. They're not going to want to be around you because they're going to feel like you're a burden. You're going to lose your friends. And this is kind of hitting me as I'm saying it. I'm realizing the fear is that I'm going to lose you. If I become a burden to you, you won't want to be around me. So I'd rather suffer alone and not feel lonely.
I would want to lose those people out of my life too. If I can't come to you because I would feel like a burden, because in my mind, if you would see me as a burden and you call myself your friend, like we cool.
Amen.
We good. Like
you are speaking to me right now.
I have this conversation with my best friend Julian all the time. He gets so angry at me when I do not ask him for things because it's being very, very selfish and taking that power away from my friend to be a friend.
Yes.
If my friend sees me as a burden, you're not my friend.
Yes.
You're not my friend because people have hard times.
Yeah.
Trust me, I'm gonna be up.
And I plan on getting
because I'm down. You can't be there for me, or it's difficult for you to be there for me when I'm down, because guaranteed, when I'm up, you were up. you were up. But anyway, on childhood trauma, so that was the childhood trauma of like molestation and on the sexual aspect, and that has many ramifications. But like another childhood trauma that like a lot of people don't talk about, like I grew up in a very messy household, and a lot of people, I mean, you can look at that now as hoarding or things like that, but just how people don't view that for a child, like how that sense of, first of all, it's not right for a child to think that this level of life is okay, to where like we're just living in a mess.
Like the disarray feels like nothing feels like it has value.
Yeah.
Nothing around you feels valuable because there's no care for it. And so you now don't know how to value the things you have because you've never grown up knowing that some things are valuable. And it's hard. And then nobody likes the mess. Like I used to love going to hotels just because they felt fresh and clean. But it's not home. But I would almost get like homesick for the vacation when I come home, just because even if things were hoarded, because my grandmother, she kept things like super strict, and she would like, but I had already grown up like this, so my room was always a mess. Everything's just thrown away. Like, just throw everything in a garbage bag. And it's just like, my things.
Mm-hmm.
Because my hoarding is because I feel like I have nothing else. So I'm holding on to this 3rd grade notebook with things I'm never going to look at because it's mine. You know, and so my friends would say, well, why don't you stop paying storage and just throw that stuff out? Because I'm homeless. And if I'm homeless and furnitureless, then I have nothing. And I will have my furniture. I will have that beat up dresser I've had for 13 years because it's mine. And when I get a house, it's going mine. In it. Yeah.
Like I'm
you are speaking the word.
I say everything that I'm saying, like I want to preface with saying I'm very, 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 very thankful for my upbringing. I am very thankful for all of those bumps and bruises because they have made me who I am today. They've made me so much stronger, and I had to go through these things in part because I am strong enough to handle these things because I know my Father will not place more on me than I can bear.
And you mean God the Father?
Yeah, God the Father. Yeah, and I'm strong enough to share what I've been through, which can help someone. Like that is what I've always learned with my life. Share what you've been through. My life is a testimony. My life is not my own. My life is not my own, and just being selfish enough that I can keep this to myself because I have a story of triumph and a story of overcoming and a story of fearlessness and a story of courage and a story. Oh, I've got a story to tell you.
I remember being a child and laying there and going, and I don't know why I thought this. Who's gonna play me in the movie? Because it just seemed like I didn't necessarily know it wasn't normal because it was my normal, but it still felt like this is different. And this is going to be a movie someday. But now I picture myself speaking in my TED Talks. I'm like, when I learn whatever I'm supposed to learn from this shit, this is going in the TED Talk. But I used to say just what you said. I'm glad I went through it. But now I'm at a point where I'm not glad I went through it. I'm glad I'm strong enough to learn something from it. But I wish I deserve enough to wish I had been loved more and taken care of more. That I wish I had more. And I can forgive you without justifying the lack of good you did for my life. The adults around me did not do enough. The people that were entrusted with my care as a human being, as a child that had no power, as a child that was just full of love and life. I think about the little person that I was. And all my siblings, we all deserve more.
Yeah, definitely.
And just because I have somehow made it through to this side to be strong enough to share my blessings, not everybody gets there. And I could easily be the person on drugs trying to escape this pain instead of figuring out ways to talk through it. And I'm grateful that I'm not, so that way I feel like in that way I'm being used to save others from that. But at the same time, I deserve better.
Definitely.
And I'm not grateful for the pain. I'm grateful for the strength and the clarity to get through it. But damn, like meeting people that live better, because I also grew up in the projects, grew up around poverty. It seems like a common story. But when you get out and you meet people that didn't live that way, it's like, that would have been nice.
Yeah.
Like, and people have different traumas and everything, but adversity can make you stronger, but adversity can also break you.
Yeah.
Now, I remember being in one of my psych classes and my teacher said, well, how much adversity is too much? Whatever I had. Whatever I had was too much. Whatever the line is, they crossed that shit a long time ago. And it set me up to not know how to do better for myself. And I am almost 40 and still learning.
Yeah.
And I'm not blaming anybody for the choices I made, because at the same time, as I was messing up in college and accruing debt and all that stuff, I was aware of the path. But emotionally, I didn't have the motivation and the structure to stick to it. And I'm still trying to build that structure in my life now, because I want the rest of my book, the rest of my story to be a story of triumph.
Oh, yeah.
I want to be in a position of greatness to where people that live through what I lived through can actually look and go, like right now, I'm an example of not killing yourself. And which is awesome, you know. I'm glad I didn't kill myself. But that's what I'm not an example of success. I'm still struggling. And emotionally, I'm grateful for that. But I want to get to a point. I would love to be successful.
Mm-hmm.
But I also want to get to that point where people can see that we are about to be joined by my son, our co-host Ken and Barack. Give me one moment. Entertain them.
Yeah. Let's see. So I would say that I'm thankful for the pain. I'm thankful for it all because, like I said, it's brought me to who I am, and like I can't fix the mistakes of my parents. Yes, I wish that more would have been done for me as a child, but all of that made me so strong, and the fact that I have not killed myself
is everything.
I figure that's a success within itself.
No.
And like you have to like,
and you are a blessing to all of us. Everyone that knows you. When I say this man is a
God
light
is
in my life, a light in the life of everyone that he meets. We got some stories later. We're gonna name drop and everything on another episode because this man is just glory to everyone that meets him, celebrities and all. But he's just full of love. And you would almost not believe all the stuff you've been through, but that stuff has made you love people through everything. And I'm grateful for you. And I'm grateful that he has you in his life.
Growing up for me was difficult. Growing up not just because my circumstances were bad. Like, yes, I didn't have the best home environment. I didn't have everything I wanted, but growing up for me was difficult because I was very, very different. I was very, very unique. I was not like anyone. And I feel that my existence forced my parents to deal with some things within themselves that they were not equipped to handle.
Mm-hmm.
And they did not know how to love me properly. Like they could have loved anyone else who was not so different, who was not so unique. They could have loved that person within all of their struggles. They could have loved him fine, but because of who I am, I did not receive the love that I needed. So I had to find that love within myself, within God, and like God, like acknowledging God has been like a thing within the past like 6 years where like having to find me growing up being me, and you know all that I am.
Yes.
I'm flamboyant, I'm exuberant, I'm a great big ball of love, light, and energy.
No, you are. You are everything. Everything.
So like it had to be difficult for my parents because I'm a young man in Mississippi.
And the truth is in America, in world culture, and then in particular America with the Christianity and everything, and then in particular the Black American community, they treat having a gay son as a curse. And a curse that they try to beat out of them, and verbally, physically, everything.
Exercise them. I mean.
The punishment for being the person that you are is so severe. And the idea that meeting you, now I always said that, funny thing is when I first met my husband, when we first started dating, I remember coming back to New York and telling my friends, met this guy on Tinder, swipe right and all that, but that I said I could raise a gay son with him.
Mm-hmm.
And that feels so important to me.
Mm-hmm.
He's the first guy I think I've been with that that wouldn't even be an issue,
mm-hmm.
that wouldn't even be a discussion.
Mm-hmm.
And I loved that. And then I met you, and that just strengthened that. And then having a baby boy, and it's just like, even when I was pregnant, I thought, I don't know who he's going to be. I don't know who he's going to love. I know that they're going to have to prove to me they're good enough for my baby. But it made me think about you so much and think anyone that would allow, and I have a couple of other amazing gay men friends. First of all, if you don't have a gay man friend, your life is,
what you doing?
Your life is horrible. You are not living. So you're not. Kill yourself. No, I'm joking. No, the childhood trauma, no. But like, you're not living. But I thought anybody that could miss out on the amazingness that you are because of who you love, because of who you're having sex with, that is the most insane thing. Because you are a blessing to me. I couldn't even imagine growing up with the kid you. You had to be hilarious. You had to be hilarious and sweet and fun and funny. And anybody that
bad.
allowed.
I was bad.
But those, I'm
Bad.
sorry. Give me a sarcastic, like misbehaving kid. Those are my favorites. Granted, I was like the drama dance teacher, so it's easy for that to be my favorite. But just you're amazing. And I couldn't wait for you to be a part of my kid's life.
And that's one of the best compliments that I received, because as you find out more about me, I've got a very sordid history. And like that compliment meant more to me than anything because of the way people feel about black men who have been abused, gay black men who have been abused. And from you to actually want me near your child, not can't wait to see the influence that I'm gonna be in your kid's life. Like that was the best compliment that I've ever received, because that boy means more to me. That boy, I'm not even there is nothing in me that is blood to him, but I love him. I feel a duty to protect him. I feel a duty to, because I know what he's going to be to the world.
Yes.
And like the traumas the unintentional traumas that young man is going to go through. Like, we just have to talk about these things because life affects everyone differently.
Yes.
And just because a situation was not traumatic for you, that does not mean that this situation is not traumatic for this other person. And so the same situation can be uber traumatic for somebody.
Yeah.
When you can just breeze through it, because that is your character, your strength, your anything. Your
like some things are less traumatic just because I've been through worse.
Yeah.
It's like, it's not that this isn't traumatic.
And you
it's like my parents not being together and that breakup becomes the bottom of the totem pole because I've just dealt with so many other effed up things. But that could be my trauma.
Yeah.
That could be. But unfortunately, life was like,
yeah.
You hit that well. Let's see
what else you got.
Let's see what else you got.
And you breezed through it beautifully. You've made it out on the other side beautifully.
And as have you.
This wonderful, wonderful young man. That I'm just so thankful to be a part of his life. Get to know him. Cannon Barra. He's going to change the world.
Let's have a quick second before we close out, because we'll have more discussions later. But I just want to dispel the myth, because the myth of sexual abuse leading to homosexuality, and that leading to child molestation. Let's be real. Most children are abused.
Most.
Just like most women, sometime in their life, experience some sort of sexual abuse and or harassment. Most children are abused. And most don't become sexual abusers. And most aren't gay. Like, most people that are convicted of sexual abuse are living and loving as straight men. They're usually the man sitting across from us at the Thanksgiving table. They're usually not people that knock you down in the backyard or kidnap you. Usually family members. Most of the predators are straight men. And yet there's this need to demonize gay men and gay women. And that's just not the case. And if most people became gay because of sexual abuse, there'd be way more of us would be gay. We'd be the majority. The gay people would be the majority. That would just be the majority. Straight would be the minority easily because more people have been abused.
Protect your kids.
Protect your children. Protect them and love them. And through this conversation was just about opening up, because silence breeds shame. And shame protects only the abusers. And let's watch how we speak with our children. Let's love them. Let's speak love on them.
Oh, yes.
And our children and other children, let's protect them. Let's believe them. Let's believe them.
Believe them.
All right. So in closing, we just want to say that if you have experienced childhood trauma or trauma in your life, go talk to somebody, get help. But most importantly, you are not alone. You have a whole community behind you.
Yeah.
The fact of the matter is, shame is the way they get silence out of the victims.
Mm-hmm.
And silence allows the perpetrators to keep going. It allows the justification of abuse and the justification of not doing enough. Know better, do better, and expect better of yourself and of others. But take care of yourself. Self-care is everything. So, again, I'd like to thank you for joining us at the Nappy Frappe.
Thank you
And
so much.
if you like it, click the like button, share with all your friends, follow us on all forms of social media at the Nappy Frappe. And also, if you want to get to know more about this amazing, wonderful love of a human being right here, this is Delorean. Tell them where they can find you, Delorean.
At Instagram, you can find me at Mr_Delorean, Mr_Delorean. Facebook, Matthew Delorean. And I also have a YouTube channel called You Are Not Alone, which definitely just talks through very difficult times in life. And just all I have is our opinions, and they're just my opinions to help somebody else get through sharing the story of my life that somehow it may help somebody else. But thank you for joining us. Thank you.
And if you want to share your story with me, post underneath. Send me an email, send me a letter at thenappyfrappe@gmail. And so thank you, Delorean. Thank you, Cannon Barack. If you want to follow Cannon Barack, you can try. I don't know if I'm going to save you. You know, I got to keep an eye on everybody with my baby. But at Cannon Barack. And have a wonderful day. Be blessed. Enjoy your coffee. Mwah.
Mwah, mwah, mwah. Thank you guys so much for watching.